So today I wanted to take the time to cover a few topics while I'm on this long drive back home to Chicago. One of the topics that I want to cover is based off Logan Sneed's new video on breaking myths on the ketogenic diet, basically. So I want to talk to you about intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, extended fasting. What is it? Intermittent fasting is just a fasting period where you don't eat, you don't ingest any calories, and it's just basically water, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, these things of this nature, if you can get it in your diet without adding a caloric intake. A lot of people just straight water fast for that period, or they use something like green tea or coffee. Those do have a calorie count to them, but they're not. It's not something people typically worry about. If you wanted to be true to an intermittent fast, you would just consume water. You wouldn't have anything with calories at all. Most intermittent fasts last 16 hours of nothing but water, and then you have an 8-hour window to consume your nutrients. So there's that. Then some people bump it up after they've got used to that to an 18-hour just water, and then 20-hour just water, and then they finally progress to a point where they're like, you know what? I just want to do one meal a day, one giant, massive meal a day, and I'm going to fast for 22 hours a day, and I'm going to have 2 hours to consume my meal. So, that's another option as well. 36 hours or less seems to be the amount of time that a person can go straight water fasting and not see anything called refeeding syndromes. So basically, what ends up happening is when you fast for long periods of time, you deplete the mineral stores in your body: phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium. And when you do this over and over again, your body starts pulling minerals and stuff from places that it shouldn't be pulled from. It starts pulling minerals out of your bone that your bone needs to actually be healthy and stuff like that into the blood. And it starts removing stuff from the blood that your body needs. So if you're consuming a little bit of potassium and sodium throughout your fast, some bone broth or something like that, probably wouldn't be that big of a deal if it's bone broth, because it still does have some calorie count to it. It does have a little bit of protein, 1 or 2 grams per serving. So that wouldn't be like the ideal situation unless you were about to break your fast and you're trying to pull yourself through the rest of the way. Some bone broth could actually, even though it's technically breaking it, some bone broth could get you to a point where you're successful in completing that fast and still get you some health benefits out of the mix. So refeeding syndrome can be fatal. I mean, it can literally kill you in some cases. It's not a common thing. Let's talk about seizures, coma. There's a number of things that can happen. And these are worst case scenarios. I'm talking less than 1% of people that water fast. But it is a possibility. Do I think water fasting is healthy? Absolutely not. I would never tell somebody to not have something that their cellular function absolutely needs to have. So calcium or potassium and sodium are the 2 things that I really push on water fasting. Just adding a little salt throughout the day, pinch it, throw it in your mouth, mix a little bit in your water, something like that would be great. But sweeteners, different types of fat and stuff, I'm completely against all that. I think these fat fasting these methods that people come up with are terrible. With the keto groups that I have and the amount of time that I've had doing this, I see these refeeds on fat fasting is terrible. People might lose 10, 12, 15 pounds in like a 2-week fat fast, but then they turn around and gain 16, 17, 18 pounds back over a short period of time. It just doesn't make any sense to me. If you're going to eat, eat. If you're not going to eat, don't eat. That's what it comes down to. And people keep trying to reinvent the wheel because they're not promoting people actually being strong, learning to fast in a full therapeutic way where your body is going through an autophagy phase. It's eating the dead cells that cause eczema, psoriasis, moles and stuff fall off your body that were there before. If you're fasting from 16 to 20 hours, you don't need to eat anything. You don't need bulletproof coffee. You don't need any of that stuff. Learn to be strict with yourself. Learn to start dialing in a healing therapeutic standpoint and make it that 16, that 18, that 20 hours. Let that be your goal. Tell people if they say, well, is it okay if I have bulletproof coffee while I'm fasting? Explain to them, you know what? You might be all right having it. You're probably not going to lose weight. You're not going to get into that full therapeutic effect of healing. if you're ingesting calories from fat, you're probably not going to do anything for your body in general in a fasting state. Now, if you kept it very, very small and you just choose like a splash of cream or just like a quarter of a teaspoon of butter or something like that, probably not a big deal. Or just, just enough cream to change the color of your coffee to take that tartness out of it. But again, still not true fasting. Refeeding syndrome is a thing. It's what happens when you deplete everything that's inside your body. It typically takes more than 36 hours for it to happen. And then when you go to refeed, you refeed way too fast. And you flood your body full of these minerals, these vitamins and stuff like that. And it just throws you all out of whack. Stomach aches, lethargy, you feel like you're sick, you gotta go to the hospital. It's not a good thing to deal with. So that's why I promote using some no salt, some new salt, some cream of tartar, some Redmond's real salt or pink Himalayan salt from India, where it actually needs to say from India on the label of the pink Himalayan salt, and just using some throughout the day while you're fasting to keep your electrolyte levels up so your body doesn't have a reason to rob places of electrolytes that it shouldn't be robbing. Then you don't have to deal with so much of this refeeding syndrome and the lethargy of refeeding afterwards. Then you don't have as much of an issue when it comes to keeping the weight off when you come back to eating again. And learning that if you're going to do more than a 36-hour fast, the best thing for you to do is pick about half of your food that you would typically have and refeed on that for a couple days until your body starts getting used to getting those nutrients back in. And then start slowly adding the rest of your meals that you would normally have back in to prevent this refeeding syndrome. Of course, I'll probably catch some flack from this video because people think that they know everything about fasting and that but the snake diet guy, even though I think he's a complete idiot a lot of the time, he does have it right when it comes down to minerals on fasting. You absolutely do need minerals while you're fasting. It stops your body from going into this shock of refeeding when it's all over with. There are some medical cases where they look at 10,000 people and they see less than 1% of the people have like a refeeding syndrome where they've had to deal with something like this. Why even take a chance? Keep your electrolytes up while you're fasting. Keep potassium, sodium in your body while you're doing it. It's not going to stop your fast. It's not going to stop your autophagy process. Your body's going to do what it naturally needs to do to clean itself out while you're fasting, and do it the correct way. Don't push the limits. Don't make it seem like, and your electrolytes are going to allow you to go further. And if you think about what's in bone broth to begin with, what allows people that use bone broth to go faster when they fast, it's the fact that, guess what? It has electrolytes in it. It has sodium in it. It has those things that your body needs to make themselves feel like they're not so deprived, they're not so full. But if you learn to use electrolytes and make your own electrolyte drink that doesn't have fat, doesn't have sweeteners and stuff in it, in that nature, you make it from raw potassium or, sodium. You don't have to worry about that extra protein that's in bone broth to keep you going. So, with that being said, now you can fast even longer on just nothing but minerals. And you don't go through as much of that refeeding syndrome as you would have without having it. So water fasting, in my opinion, is not very healthy. It pulls things from places that it shouldn't be pulled from. It's just my opinion. Take it for what it is. Leave your comments in the box below. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.